What's up, Epic family? Shout out to my Fire family if you are also watching. Welcome to Cook with Coach. My name is Lavonda Watson Sankins. I'm also known as that Fire Coach, and I am excited to have you here in my kitchen. Now, as you know, for the last 2 decades, I have been building a profitable coaching practice. I actually work with entrepreneurs of faith and helping them to identify their spiritual gifts and their talents and building a profitable business around it. Now, as you may guess, that takes a lot of time. And so sometimes I have long days and sometimes I have even longer nights. Well, on those days and on those nights, mealtime has to be simple. I have to have meals that are fast, but also feel good. In other words, they've got to be good and good for me. And that's when I turn to Epicure. Epicure has meal solutions that are amazing, that are not filled with any artificial anything. They are whole foods and they are really delicious. And so these meal solutions help me and they help my family. Even on the nights where I cannot cook because I'm coaching or teaching my business school, my husband can actually make these meals himself. Again, amen to that. So we are going to actually cook some Epicure meal solutions today, and I think that they're going to be a blessing to you. If you are in that same spot where you sometimes have busy days and you're out in the marketplace and you're building and providing for your family, I want to help you to make mealtime easy. Are you ready? Let's cook. So today we are making Alfredo. Now, I'm not a huge pasta lover, but I do like a very good Alfredo. And so as you can see, it comes as a meal solution. All of Epicure's meal solutions come in these packets. And normally when you see a packet, you think it's filled with artificial flavors and preservatives and additives and all the things. Not these. Like I said, they are good and good for you. And so on the back of the packet, it will tell you exactly what you need along with the recipe directions. And as you can see for this, I only need milk. Now I'm going to remix it a little bit. We're going to add some mushrooms and some peas. I have to jazz it up just a bit. My husband actually tells me I'm extra all the time, but it pays off, I promise. So we're going to jazz this up with some veggies. And as you can see, I also have some salmon here. These are beautiful fillets. I actually went to Whole Foods on yesterday to get some salmon fillets, and I told the guy at the seafood counter that it was going to be on camera, so they needed to be perfect. A little added stress. He was so stressed out, but he did a beautiful job. They are amazing. So we're going to season this up. We're going to give it a dill and a lemon twist, and then I'm going to show you how to sear salmon flawlessly, even if you do not have a cast iron skillet, because let's just face it, nothing sears like cast iron. Now that might be the Southern girl in me. I'm from South Carolina. But when I moved from South Carolina to Colorado, I left all my cast iron skillets with my sister. Heartbroken. But we're going to use nonstick today, and I'm going to show you how to get a perfect sear with a perfect color on your salmon fillets. So let's get cooking. First things first, let's make sure our pans are heating and they're waiting for us and not the other way around. All right, so now that I have got my pans on the stove and they're heating up, the first thing I want to do is go ahead and season up these salmon fillets. Now, I want to make sure that I'm using some salt. Now, this is a good salt. You always want to make sure that you are using a pink Himalayan salt, which is loaded with trace minerals. There are probably 80 plus trace minerals in this salt. And so pink Himalayan salt is actually much better for you than table salt. And it's really not as salty, believe it or not. And so I'm going to do that with a little fresh cracked black, because we need fresh cracked black in everything, yes? And then I'm also going to use this lemon dilly seasoning. This is actually an Epicure seasoning. And I love this because it's got dill, some dry dill. It's got some lemon zest in there, some garlic, some really good things. And there's nothing on the back of this label that cannot be pronounced. And so again, good and good for you. Oh, it's right in front of me. I'm going to find my trusty spoon here. This is an Epicure spoon. It's called the 4-in-1 spoon. It's got a tablespoon, a teaspoon, a half a teaspoon, and a quarter teaspoon. So all of it in just one solution. So I'm going to use just a little to season these up on both sides. And you can go a little heavy-handed because these are low sodium. Again, you do not have to worry about any of these seasonings being too salty for you or too salty for your family. And we're gonna season both sides because, like Emeril Lagasse always says, nobody wants one-sided seasoned food, right? Nobody wants that. So we're gonna season both sides. And I'm gonna make sure that we put presentation side down first in the pan. What do I mean by that? I mean the side that you want to present at the end of your meal. Sear it first because it's with the first sear that you're gonna get the best crust, the most beautiful brown golden crust, right? Okay, so your salmon's all seasoned up and ready to go. And now I'm gonna chop the veggies. Now, as you can see, I used a separate board for the meat. You do not want to cross-contaminate your boards. And so here we have some mushrooms, and it's just a few. I have 4 of them. I've also got my trash bowl here on hand. Now that's a chef tip, so that you're not constantly running back and forth to your trash can. You can have a trash bowl right there where you can just pop the stems in there. Now, if you're really trying to be conscious, you can actually take those stems, put them in a Ziploc bag along with all the other ends of all of the veggies that you chop all month long, put it in your freezer, and when you have a full bag, you can make a great vegetable stock. So I'm just gonna slice these veggies quickly. We want some good thick slices of mushroom. I love mushrooms. My husband, however, does not, so he's not gonna get any of this Alfredo. So I'm just gonna saute these up in the pan with these peas. I've got some frozen peas that I've had thawing. And so it's just a little bit, just a handful, not even a quarter cup, right? You don't need a whole lot. We just wanna add a pop of color along with some flavor to this Alfredo that we're making. And so let's go ahead and saute up our mushrooms and our peas. Our pan should be kind of hot for us. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm gonna add a little bit of oil to the pan, and I'm gonna pop these mushrooms. Yes, you hear that sear? I'm gonna pop those mushrooms in there. We'll let the mushrooms go for just a moment. Now, our salmon is already seasoned up, and I want to talk a little bit about these meals because literally there are so many different kinds. You've got sweet garlic chicken, which is easy and simple. You just have to thaw your protein and add just a little bit of things to it. Nothing that you wouldn't have in your freezer or in your pantry, nothing that you wouldn't already have in your fridge, right? We've got enchiladas, if you like, Mexican food, one of my favorites. Beef and broccoli, if you have a meat eater in your house like my husband, he loves meat. And so anything with beef or chicken or even seafood, he loves those. And so we actually eat beef and broccoli a good bit. Pad Thai is also an option. I did a cooking class just the other day and we added shrimp to it. It was fantastic. And then we have desserts as well. This is just a chocolate pudding that you could actually make as a chocolate pudding, or you can use it in the batter for a cake. There's so many different things that you can do. And like I said earlier, you can remix any of these recipes and make them your own, just like I'm gonna do with this Alfredo today. And I'm also going to do with this salmon. So let's give our mushrooms a stir, and then let's make sure our pan is hot for the salmon. Awesome, those are coming along good. Let's see how our pan over here is doing. Good, now what I want to do is I want to teach you a quick trick, because sometimes when you're searing, not just salmon, but chicken breast or any other meat, you want a nice brown sear, but when you use butter, which browns, it burns, right? Because butter has a low smoke point. What you can do is add your butter to the pan and then cut it with just a little oil. Why? Because oil has a higher smoke point. And so the oil will not burn, and the butter, you'll still get that beautiful butter flavor that everyone loves. Now I'm using a vegan butter here because obviously I'm kind of plant-based, trying to, make some changes. I don't eat meat, but I'm slowly weaning myself off of dairy. So what we're gonna do is put a pat of butter in the pan, and then I'm gonna cut it with a little oil so that it doesn't burn while my salmon is searing. So we're gonna do that, put a pat of butter here in the pan, and then I'm gonna cut it with just a tad of oil. That's just gonna help it not to burn, but to still give me that beautiful butter flavor. Now my mushrooms are coming along great. Yes, they look good. We're just gonna let those wilt down just a bit. And then we're gonna get our salmon ready. Now I'm gonna use my trusty Epicure tongs. Now let me tell you why I love these tongs. I used to have another pair of tongs that was stainless steel that had only silicone at the tips. I can't tell you how many times those tips came off. In the middle of my sauce, in the middle of whatever I was cooking, the tips would just fall off. You don't have to worry about that with these Epicure tongs. The entire thing is silicone, and I love that. So I'm gonna take my salmon here, and I'm gonna go over here and sear them. Now, like I said, you wanna make sure that it is presentation side down. The side that you want to actually plate, you wanna make sure you put it down. Now, that's got a good sizzle on it. The thing about getting a good sear is your pan must be hot enough, and you wanna make sure that you don't mess with it. I cannot tell you how many times I used to have a commercial kitchen, and I would have either my sous chef, working with some meat, searing some meat, and I would tell her, don't touch it. You think it's gonna burn. It's not. As long as your stove is where it needs to be, it will sear perfectly. But if you keep flipping it and keep moving it, you're not gonna get that nice brown crust that you want. You're not gonna get that nice golden color that you're craving. So set it and leave it alone. Now let's add our peas to the mushroom. Nice. Okay, now while those are going, I want to share one more tip with you. I always have either some vegetable stock or some no chicken stock. Now, again, I don't eat meat, so I don't use chicken or beef stock, but if you do, please feel free to use either one. Keep it on hand. Why? Just in case your sauce starts to dry up. Just in case your stove is too high and your sauce boils out and it gets super thick, you can always thin it out with a little vegetable stock or a little no chicken stock. That's just another chef tip. Again, these look great. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take our Alfredo packet, and the back of the packet, where are my scissors? The back of the packet actually says that you want to combine this mix with 1.5 cups of milk in a saucepan. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna add it to our veggies along with 1.5 cups of milk. Now I'm using an oat milk because it's super thick and I think it's gonna be good for Alfredo, but you can use whatever kind of milk you and your family prefer. So I'm just going to, just like the pack says, pop that in there. And then put that in my trash bowl, and then I'm gonna add 1.5 cups of milk. And then we're gonna just stir this through. Now, ideally here, you will wanna whisk so that you don't have any lumps. But I'm gonna go with a spatula today because my vegetable is gonna help to break up those lumps. Awesome. So we're gonna let that come together. I'm gonna do a little clean up. Now your question to me should be, okay, Coach, how do I know when my salmon is ready to be flipped? How do I know, right? You wanna look at the sides of your fillet. When the opaque part, the cooked part, is about halfway, you know that it's time to flip it. Don't mess with it or you're gonna ruin your sear. Now I see that it's about halfway, so I'm gonna go ahead and flip it now. Oh, perfect. That is perfect. Now you see how I didn't flip it 3 times and I didn't flip it over and over again? You don't have to. Now I know that there are some people while they're cooking, they like to sip on a nice glass of red or a glass of white. I get that, but in the middle of my work day, that's a no-no. So what I'm doing today is I'm sipping on some Dolce Vita. It's actually a coffee that Epicure makes. It comes in a little container just like this. As you can see, again, it's Epicure, and it has coconut palm sugar as the sweetener, which is fantastic because palm sugar is a lot lower on the glycemic index, meaning it will not cause your blood sugar to spike. The thing that I love about Epicure is we have a never list, right? It's a never ever list, and there's a whole ton of things on that list that says it's never in Epicure products. And one of those things is artificial sweeteners. There are no artificial sweeteners in any Epicure products. And I love the fact that they use coconut sugar in the coffee. And I'm telling you, it is fantastic. It's sweet, it's rich, it's creamy, so good. So good. So it looks like my sauce is going great here. Oh, that looks amazing. That looks so good. Nice. I'm going to drop that down just a little, and I am going to whisk it, only because I see a few lumps, but I don't like to whisk in my nonstick pan because I don't like scratches. I'm kind of fanatical about it. I don't like scratches in my cookware. Oh, that smells so delicious. Nice. All right, that's perfect. Okay, now I did tell you I was going to add a little flavoring, and so this is my trusty microplane grater. The other day I had a cooking class, and the young lady who was teaching the class with me, she said, "What is this thing?" It is a microplane grater. It is perfect for grating lemons and limes, and even for Parmesan cheese. It's really, really good. It will help you to flavor or add flavor to some of your dishes with just a hint of zest. And so we're going to zest in just a little lemon. Just a little bit. We don't want to overpower it. And then I'm going to move this cutting board and slice this lemon just a little bit. Again, because we want to make sure we have a good presentation of our salmon. And then I'm going to use a little bit of the juice in my Alfredo. Nice. Now, I have some pasta here that I actually made earlier. I'm going to pop this into my sauce and start to toss it. While I'm doing that, I'm going to turn my salmon off. Here we go again. I want to take, oh, that looks so good. Oh, with a nice crust on there. That looks amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and toss this in my sauce. Get the pasta all coated. Oh, it smells fantastic in here. Bet you wish you were watching Smell-O-Vision. It's so good in here. It smells amazing. Nice. You can smell the lemon zest in there, that little bit of lemon juice that I put. You can see the pop of the green. I'm going to show you in just a minute. All this pasta is now coated in that nice Alfredo sauce. Perfect. Perfect. And I don't even have to loosen up the sauce at all. So I'm going to turn that off. That is finished. That came together in what, 10 minutes? And my salmon is also finished. So now what I want to do is I'm going to make a sauce for the salmon. Let's do this. I'm going to put them, let's rinse my little trusty tongs here. And I'm going to pull the salmon out and plate them here. Perfect. Oh my goodness. I wish you could see how perfect the sear is. Look at the color on that salmon, so beautiful. And so now I'm gonna make a sauce for the salmon just by adding some lemon to that same pan where it cooked. Don't worry about the seeds, you can fetch those out. I'm also gonna add some butter. And then just a little of that lemon dilly seasoning that we used earlier. Perfect. Perfect. Now we can fetch out those seeds and pour this sauce right over the salmon. I want you to see this. So amazing. Oh my gosh, it smells so good in here. Now that's done. And what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna add these lemon slices to that warm pan just to warm them through. Immediately they'll start to sizzle. And so what I'm gonna do is just warm them through just a little so that we can plate them on top of the salmon at the end. Remember, I tell you, it's all about plating, right? It's all about making sure that your plate looks beautiful and that it's eye-catching, right? It's got to be pleasing to the eye before it could be pleasing to the stomach. That's a chef tip, right? Always make sure that your food is beautifully plated. Now, let's plate up. I promised that these meals would be less than 20 minutes, and they are. So we're gonna take a little bit of this Alfredo, making sure that we get some veggies in our serving. Oh, we don't want that much. Well, my husband will probably eat that much. And we're gonna just set it right here in the middle of the plate. Nice. And then we're gonna add some of these veggies. Uh-oh. We're gonna add some mushrooms and some peas. Make sure that the color pops right there on the top. And then we'll add the salmon to the plate. Yum. Perfect. Now, we want to make sure that we have some Parmigiano Reggiano on hand. Now, I know it costs a little bit more, but trust me, it is worth it. So I'm going to take my vegetable peeler, which I thought I took out, but obviously I did not. I'm going to take my vegetable peeler and I'm going to peel just a few slices of this parm right over the top of the pasta. Again, it's all about aesthetics, right? But that parm is gonna add a nice, salty, cheesy finish to our dish. And then we're going to grab, what? I keep losing this. We're going to grab our salmon and set it right there on the side. Nice, along with some of that sauce. That looks so good. And then the last thing is we're gonna take a lemon slice. They're now completely warmed through and we're gonna set that right there on top. Look at that plate. Fantastic, perfect sear on the salmon. Listen, I cannot wait to dive into this. Thank you so much for joining me for yet another Cook with Coach cooking class. I hope that you got some amazing tips in this 20-minute video. And also I hope that you have seen just how easy it is to cook these Epicure meal solutions. They come together in 20 minutes or less, and they are loaded with flavor, and you can remix them however you choose for you and your family. If you love these recipes and you are on cookwithcoach.com, scroll all the way down and there's a button at the bottom that says order meal solutions. Go ahead and place your order. You're gonna love them. If you are on YouTube, I will make sure that I put the link in the comments for you. Thank you for joining me. Oh, and also, if you find that you love cooking and you would like to get paid to do it, definitely connect with me. Go to the website, click join Epicure on my website, and become a part of my team. I'll teach you how to do all the easy things so that as you cook for your family, you can also make a living. I love it. I will see you soon. Make sure you come back for the next Cook with Coach episode. I'm going to dive into this salmon with Alfredo and mushrooms and peas. I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you soon. Take good care. Bye.